Hello once again and welcome back to MANIME, the anime podcast, and this week's episode of the podcast I will be talking about the Spoke Kishibe Rohan. So little news, official trailer for Eden Zero is officially out. This is a big thing because last week I talked about how I'll be keeping up with the anime, and the announcement of the anime happened along with like a little post that came out on Twitter. But now the official, trailer is out, and it's looking really promising. I'm gonna be honest with you, it looks amazing. It's done super well, so I'm really excited for this. New anime X-Arm is doing really shit. So this isn't exactly insanely new, but it's around this month to last month, so I think it counts for this week's little news. So there's a new anime called X-Arm, for those of you who do not know, and it is an adaptation from the manga, which the manga apparently is actually really good, but the adaptation to the anime is really shit. And what's surprising is that this is a Crunchyroll original anime. That means Crunchyroll, many people watched over this and went, that is good to put out. So now there's good animes like, Tower of God, God of High School, all those, pretty good, animes. And now this shit anime X-Arm's out. And one of the reasons it's so bad is, actually my friends over the Tome Nerds did an episode on this, and they watched it with a guest, and I didn't fully watch the episode on just with the on the Tome Nerds episode and the actual episode, but I watched a little bit from the Tome Nerds, and the anime looked really shit. Like in some scenes they incorporate 3D, like really shitty 3D. I might as well add. Like I've seen good 3D, in my time, but like this is really shitty 3D along with like just normal animation. So it's like 2D and 3D put together, but it just looks really fucking weird. The beginning actually looks kind of cool, but it's like the first 4 or 5 seconds, and you see the characters like 3D, and you're like, what the fuck? So that did not go very well. That's really all I have for this week's little news. Really nothing else seemed to happen. I feel like I covered a lot last little news, or I feel like I did. Not a lot this little news has happened. Maybe next week, or hopefully next week, I should say. Another thing, I now have timestamps. So for those of you who do not know what timestamps are, or you may have forgotten, they're basically, not watermarks. They mark parts of the episode where I talk about things. So for example, it'd be like a little talk about Naruto, and it'd be like, 12:32 to like, I don't know, 54. And that's like the exact time and second, of when I do it. So you can just skip around the episode. I think it's really fun. I would suggest you try it out. Because this part I'm talking about right now, it's also, stamped in the description, so you can kind of just jump around. I think that's a really fun thing. So there is that as well. Anywho, I want to talk a little bit about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, because I have been on a bit of the binge of the series lately. So recently, I decided to start binging JoJo, because I needed a good series I could binge. Figured I still had a good amount more of the JoJo anime left, so I just thought, why not? So I finished up part 4, I'm on part 5 of the anime. So far, Golden Wind has actually been pretty good. I think the only problem I have with it, just since they're using a new art style, Koichi looks like a little child, but... I do like the character plot, the overall plot of the story. I like how Giorno isn't really a bad guy, despite the fact his father literally being Dio. But I know that's a fun little plot twist they put in there. To be fair, I'm really only in the 11th episode, but so far it's pretty good. I think it's second or third of my favorite parts from, parts 1 to 5 I've seen so far. I say that because I feel like they're really leaving behind the whole Dio thing, which I guess is for the best, but I feel like Dio was such a cool character, at least in my opinion. I think it does make sense to leave him behind, but at the same time, I just really like his characters. For some reason in the anime, I really like the bad guys. I think they always look so much more cool than the good guys, but, that doesn't always apply. But in JoJo, it's half and half. I just really like Dio's character. He was a cool dude when he wasn't cocky. I think another thing I like about part 5 is that they mention a lot of stuff in the past, but don't really go to in-depth about it. Like, Giorno has this picture of his dad in his pocket, who is Dio, and, it's weird, instead of like, making part 5 kind of, the other parts where it's like, oh, this happened in the past. Yeah, now let's go do stuff in the past. They kind of, they show you, hey, it's still connected, but like, we're not going to do that. It's a whole new story. But, there's like still a blood connection, which is what's special about JoJo is that there's some sort of blood connection between, part 1 and any characters. There will be a blood connection to it, which I think is a nice touch of just the entire series and, just in general. But that's why I really like part 5 as well. Moving over to Anilist now. So for those of you who do not know what Anilist is, it's more like a more updated version of MyAnimeList or MAL, which is a website that keeps track of anime you watch by manually putting it in there. You manually do it, not the system, which is kind of annoying, but at the same time, I don't know how they do that. And MAL is what I'll be referring to it as if you do not know. So to be honest, I've never really liked MAL from the start. I mainly used it because my friends really pushed me to use it so you can see each other's anime, manga, and even light novel tastes. The website itself is kind of where I have the problem though. I feel like just because it became the first website in the genre of keeping track of anime, it automatically got the crown of being popular in the anime and manga community, which, it's fair. That makes sense because it was the only one of its kind in the time and no one else really kind of dared try making another one. There have, still are a lot of smaller ones, but it's mainly been MAL. And, everyone already started using MAL. And that's the problem with MAL, is that they never update their website. That, or they haven't in a long time, or they're just really shit at updating it. And I think, the website is too simple. Hardly anything goes on within it. It's more like the bare minimum or like a standard of what a website should look like to look good. I think, a really funny part is when you look up, when was Anilist created, because I wanted to look it up, there's a little section in Google where it's like, what people also search for. And this is like down, there's like, some stuff in between, but this is essentially what it looked like. What is Anilist? Is Anilist better than MAL? Is Anilist free? How do I import my MAL to my Anilist? How do I delete my MAL account? So it pretty much just gives you the steps to get into Anilist, which I found was a really funny thing. So I felt kind of bad about MAL for that. I'm like, maybe Google likes MAL more than Anilist, but if those are genuinely things people searched up, that's funny as fuck, but I thought that was a little funny thing. Honestly, it kind of seems like really all I've done so far in this segment is shit on MAL, but, they have done some great, leaps and bounds for the anime, manga, and light novel community. It's just they have not done any recent notable things, which has led to other websites like Anilist, for example, to get on the rise. There are other ones as well, but I'm just doing Anilist because it's more, the leader of these other websites, and it's the only other one I really know right now. I know there's other ones, but I don't really care right now. I feel like it's just not really possible for MAL to survive today's climate unless some huge things would change. Like there would have to be like a big change in just MAL in general, because I feel like the only things keeping it alive are really content creators that have supported MAL for years. Like take the Anime Man for example. He uploaded an episode because he has this whole thing of roasting people's MALs, which is part of it. How it kind of got kept alive a little bit. Where he did a more recent one a couple months ago, where he roasted the owner of MAL's MyAnimeList, and so now that was a really cool video. But I feel like content creators like that have really only kept MAL running. I feel like if it wasn't for that, there wouldn't be anything else. Like so far off stuff I've seen, Google recommends, or just in general people, Google will recommend you ads if you're using Google to do things like on the side. Like say you're on like some, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a website where there's like ads. I don't know, YouTube, or that's not really how it works. But say you're on a website with ads on the side, it will recommend you ads most of the time from stuff you visit a lot. So I have a lot from Crunchyroll store, by example. Once again, not a sponsorship thing. That's just what it is. I've only visited it a couple of times though, but that's just examples. But Anilist does not put out, or not Anilist, MAL does not put out any ads at all. And so at this point, I'm kind of wondering, have they given up on it? Because, the website, I did shit on it a lot. It's not horrible, but at the same time, it's the bare minimum. It's the bare minimum for like an okay website. So I think at this point, Anilist it's really gotten on the rise lately. It's just, a lot of, easier for, the consumer to use, and, it's easier. It's a lot easier, for like, newer people to the website. I feel like with MAL, it was like, oh yeah, you could only understand this if you've been with MAL since like, I don't know, 2014. That's really kind of unfair for new users. So I think this is a really fun touch. Now, on to the main topic of the episode, Thus Spoke Rohan Kishibe. So for those of you who do not know who Rohan Kishibe is, he's a character in JoJo's Part 4, and his stand is called Heaven Door. Heaven's Door, not Heaven Door, which can pretty much turn people's body parts into a book, and you can, read and everything about them. And the anime, though, is made up of multiple OVAs, which all revolve around the adventures of Rohan Kishibe, and what, as I said, adventures he has. Fair warning as well, if you're going to watch this anime, there are some, pretty, I'd say, maybe really semi-disturbing and weird things in this anime that are really unexpected. So if you are sensitive to gory things or just don't like it in the first place, then I suggest you do not watch this anime. That aside, though, this anime has the weirdest and most creative things I've ever seen in an anime before, like, ever. And I've seen some pretty weird shit. It's more like the thriller side of the spectrum, which is pretty weird because JoJo usually takes action. Like, there is some thriller scenes, I guess, but it doesn't last for very long, because JoJo is, one of the headers of shonen. It's like, Dragon Ball, One Piece, I don't know, other generic shonens, and then, there's JoJo's, which I think has remained the most relevant throughout, when it was created. It's a long, long time ago. I don't know exactly when I know. It was made before the 2000s, and in my book, as a 14-year-old, that's just long, long ago. So if you like thrillers, you're most likely gonna like this one. Honestly, you don't really even need to watch JoJo to enjoy this anime. You just need to know the basic plot behind the characters, which you probably can find like the characters wiki, and if you could do that, you're good. So right now there are really only like 4 OVAs. Hopefully there will be more on their way in the future because I'm really liking the anime right now. It's exclusive to Netflix, by the way, as well. I don't know if I already mentioned that, but with Netflix, they don't usually update it like bi-weekly, or I'm not sure if they do. I've just never seen any that have, so I hope they haven't only just put out 4, but I feel like at the same time, this is kind of, it's not exactly for the fans, but it's not to just gain attention and money for JoJo, just like the franchise at the same time. It's kind of, feels like a fun little side project, which I do respect. You don't really see a lot of those anymore. Also just a thing for people who have not seen part 5 yet, watch the series before that, because it's taken place like right before, part 5 takes place. So, I think that it's a very good, interesting show. Already, as I said before, there are some really fucking unexpected and a bit disturbing things. So if you don't like that, I would not suggest that you watch this anime. But, like, other than that, it's good. I respect it for the anime it is. I like how it's kind of a creator side project, because I feel like a lot of animes, even like you could say more recently that have come out, are kind of just more, how do I put this, for the money. And I'm not pointing at any animes, but just like side animes, this assumption I'm gonna make next. I haven't even seen the anime. This is just a guess. The spin-off series for animes, like, come on, like the Fate spin-off, the Naruto spin-off, like, who really likes those? Like, you really only watch those if you're an insane, like, maybe not insane, but huge fan of the series itself, and you want to watch, more of those parts. But, I feel like this anime doesn't really do that, partially because it's not really a spin-off, but at the same time, it's a passion project. But, just like on the topic, actually, of, spin-off animes, I've never really liked them at all. To be fair, I've never really seen them either, but I've seen like one episode of the Naruto one, and I was like, what is the point of this? Like, what other purpose does this have other than to make money? Like, why would you, like, you already have the anime. You already have Shippuden. I guess Boruto, sure, but I feel like, to me, and a lot of other people, that's like a complete separate anime. Then why, like, continue it in this small, weird, like, I don't know what you'd call it, gacha looking series? And, once again, I'm not shitting on gacha. Actually, I'm against people that shit on gacha. I think it's a very, very stupid argument and just unnecessary teasing in the anime community. But it has like a gacha sort of art style, which kind of cool, I guess. Like, you could have just made it, multiple filler episodes. Honestly, I think I would have expected these mini-series episodes more if they just made it like those filler episodes in Naruto that you would watch, and you'd be like, oh, I kind of want to skip by it, but I don't know if it's a filler episode or if it just has a really fucking weird, random, and shit start. But, maybe I don't even know if I'm going to do an episode on them anytime soon. I feel like it's sort of just I don't want to say a dead thing, but, the short things have been going on for a long time. I don't know how much content you can get out of them as well. Like when I'm talking about, the Spoke Rohan Kishibe, it's 4 episodes, so I had to incorporate, a lot of other topics into the episode as well. But I feel like definitely just, with with those other ones, it's like doing an episode on, a comedy anime where there's not an insane amount of content. It's like, oh, you're introducing a new character, maybe every couple chapters or every couple episodes, maybe every chapter, every episode incorporates a new character. And that's all the content there is in those things, which is why you won't see me do a lot of, episodes on, comedy animes. Honestly, in my opinion, Psyche Cave is the best one. Not because it's like most shonen like, but I think because it had most content in it, at least just doing it for episodes. And, anime wise, it's an amazing anime. And I should probably do an episode like season 2 sometime because I have not, I covered that a long, long time ago. Probably before COVID even. Seems like an anime I'd watch before COVID. So, yeah, I think, I respect them, but at the same time, it's just why. So, I think that's just my opinion on the whole, side animes or the, whatever you even call them. But yeah, that's gonna be all for this week's episode. If you do like the episode, remember to follow the podcast and subscribe on YouTube so you never miss an upload. For those YouTube listeners, hello there. I don't have a face cam on, so there's no side perks on YouTube, but it does help me out a lot. If you want to support me, I do have a Patreon out also, which is linked in the description. It does help me out a lot. To be honest, I think the reason I opened the Patreon just genuinely in the first place is because I want this anime podcast to be something I do in the future as, a job, which is like an insane thing, but I feel like if that came true, that'd be the best thing ever. I've done this podcast for not a super long time, but like I'd say, a year and a half, maybe not even a half, but like over a year. That's pretty good. So, if you want to support me there, it kind of just shows, I can do this in the future as well. Then again, it's just a side option. You don't have to. Just listening to the episode is very awesome. I'm really grateful for that. So yeah, as always, thank you guys for listening, and I'll see you guys next week.